As you all know, we've been here since morning at this wonderful society, Vijayanagar Society in Mumbai, and complimenting the wonderful work that they've been doing for the environment. We've also discussed here through this panel the kind of interest that children are taking in working towards this very noble cause. And we'd now like to go to another school. We've been to a couple of schools before this. We now want to go to school in Bangalore. This is a Vidyalaya that has enrolled in Green Schools Program Audit 2016 and has been awarded as the best waste manager in the waste management category by the Center for Science and Environment. So can we just go across to the Kendriya Vidyalaya Rail Wheel Factory. This is in Yelahanka in Bengaluru. Our colleague...
Well, absolutely. They've been given as the best manager, best waste manager, and nothing really goes out of this campus here in terms of no waste goes to the municipal waste collection center. Everything is managed here. Nearly 80% of their waste is composted within the campus itself. And let's remember, Bengaluru has been suffering with a bad solid waste management issue for the past 7 years or so. And these children right behind me are giving hope that the city can actually change how it manages its garbage. Well, fantastic work put in here. What are some of the salient features you think that is really making Kendriya Vidyalaya here in Yelahanka stand apart?
The first thing is the paper waste. The paper waste doesn't go out from our school. We recycle it. That is, we don't crumble it or throw it in the dustbin as dry waste. We have carton boxes in each class, and we collect these papers. And there is authorized dealers known as WOW. They come and collect it every fortnight, and they recycle it. And on instead of that, we get A4 sheets, some play materials, and also we use it for SUPW, that is extracurricular works, and we make beautiful things that we can decorate our school. And we take this home too, because in school we are taught instead of throwing away ragged cloths and all, we make mats out of it, which we can use as our own personal stuff also. So that's how we do it.
So another important point is this crucial learning in the school is also being taken to back home to your societies, apartment complexes.
Yeah, we really do that. We prepare manure in our homes. Instead of throwing the dustbins, we use it for preparing the manure.
And also the other key feature is the campus is green, and most of the manure comes from the compost that's generated here.
Yeah, so we also have a compost pit, and all the dry leaves which are collected, we segregate all the plastic wrappers from that, and we dump it in the compost pit. So manure is developed, and we use it for the gardens.
And also the other crucial fact that's not practiced across the city is even the sanitary waste is separated.
Yeah.
We have a sanitary napkin winding machines also.
And we have sanitary napkins incinerator machines where it is burnt. We don't throw it in the dustbins. It is burnt and it is completely destroyed. So it does not cause any pollution, because
it does not harm our society.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And when you talk to your friends in other schools, I mean non-Kendriya Vidyalaya schools across Bangalore, do you think this inspires them? Have any of them taken this idea back to their school?
Yes, very much, because we have friends from other KVs. When we tell we are doing these things in our KVs, because they are also seniors in their KVs, so they take that thought to their school and they implement it too. So it is not only helping us, but people around us are also implementing. We go to house from house as campaigns, as some programs that are conducted in our school. We go from door to door, speaking about the importance and the need for waste management in our society.
Fantastic. Well, it's almost become a prestige issue with all the schools, Kendriya Vidyalaya schools here in Bengaluru, nearly 50 of them. And I'm told it's almost like a competition now on which school can be the greenest and which could be the one that segregates the entire waste. Joining us is the Commissioner. Sir, how are you seeing this shaping up amongst the KVs in Bengaluru?
So all the 50 Kendriya Vidyalayas, we are implementing these projects. Last year, 4 Kendriya Vidyalayas in India got the award. Out of that one, KV Hebbal got the Green Vidyalaya award, and KV RWF got the Best Waste Manager. Apart from that one, KVS headquarters has already constituted Swachh Vidyalaya and Harit Vidyalaya award. So every region, we select 3 best Kendriya Vidyalayas as Swachh Vidyalaya, 3 as a Harit Vidyalaya.
Encouraging all of them.
And we already given the award in the month of January.
Sir, But where did the idea start? Because you've been one of the brains behind this entire campaign here.
Exactly. In my school, we adopted this scheme, and recently when Green School program, which awarded this one at New Delhi. So really we were very much motivated, and my team of children and the teachers, we attended that program. And really we implemented, and without sending any waste outside. And we'll be doing a wonderful job, not only in the school, even in the society also, the entire campus. So we were giving this awareness.
There you go. Fantastic work being put in by KV here, setting an example for the entire city of Bengaluru.
Right, sir. Well, I think we were here struggling to hear a little bit of it. I think it was clear enough on air. You know, I just want to, we've been seeing some really successful stories about people who made a change. And it's important to talk about people making a change because that's where people get inspiration. But I just want to spend a few minutes now taking a look at the extent of the problem, because make no mistake about it, solid waste is a really serious problem. Solid waste is a crisis in many parts of the country. And I want to just spend some time talking to our panel of experts here. And of course, we have the one and only Amitabh Bachchan, who can add his voice to it, as to the extent of the problem that we are facing. Now, sir, why don't I start with you before I come to the others? When you're looking at the statistics, 1 lakh tons of solid waste being generated every single day in this country. When you're talking about landfills that are being clogged, when you're talking about polythene bags and garbage being there, it's an eyesore. Yes, it is. It's an eyesore. In addition to that, it's a health hazard. It's probably one of the biggest features of Swachh India that now all of us collectively need to turn our attention to.
Yeah, obviously it's a huge problem. But I still want to insist that we need to start training and teaching them at a very young age. So even in their educational curriculums, if they can have a period on civics and be taught what civic sense means to a country, to a city, to a society, I think that eventually is taken forward in the days to come. Inculcate that kind of training and thinking at a very, very young age, so that by the time you see others, being involved in open defecation, you have the ability to stop them, and you have the process of trying to explain to them the problems that happen because of this and what they can do with it. Okay. So I would suggest that, yes, as a school curriculum, they should have a civic class where these things are taught along with their maths, physics and chemistry.
Right. That's certainly something which I think people will be well advised to do. But if I can ask now all the panelists here the extent of the problem, and Manisha, you've been studying it with particular reference to Maharashtra, but maybe you can extrapolate there elsewhere. We've seen some of the other issues on Swachh India, like open defecation, which obviously has been a thrust area. Is it time now to move to waste management as one of the biggest urban problems that there is?
Oh, absolutely. I think waste is one of our single most important urban crises. So far as Maharashtra is concerned, we generate about 25,000 tons a day. And cities are simply running out of dump sites, and therefore Swachh Bharat is so much the need of the hour. But I see a lot of hope because when 2 years back we decided to make Maharashtra open defecation free by 2017 October, we had a lot of skeptics who said it's never going to happen. And their logic was in a way strange. They said it is not happened for 50 years, it's never going to happen. But now we are at the threshold when we can...
So just because we've got garbage lying around everywhere right now and clogging up landfills, yes, it doesn't mean it cannot change.
That's what I was saying. There is a lot of hope, and the idea is to connect people and individuals and societies together. And if people come together, I see change possible.
Nitish, the statistics that you've been seeing, there's a reason why this year a particular focus is coming on waste management, solid waste management. What's the reason for that?
I agree with you. It's a problem, and it's going to become even bigger because there are a lot of people that are beginning to consume packaged products for the first time, and we know that, in the next, let's say, 10 or 15 years, the ability of people to litter is actually, unfortunately, going to get bigger. But I think we should focus really on how we can stop it. I agree completely on the education. And you know that as part of the Banega Swachh India program, we actually have the 45-lesson hygiene curriculum, which is for all children between the ages of 7 and 11 to be aware of all of their civic responsibilities in terms of, you know, what it takes to keep themselves and the environment clean. I think examples like this, which is basically people taking on the responsibility to manage their waste, is also a great sign of hope. And I'd just like to take this on, you know, this whole competition of the Indian Premier League, etc. Maybe we should have an Indian Swachhta League, you know, or an Indian Dere Daz Gaz League.
That's what the hygiene index, I think, is trying to do. But hygiene index जो आपका है वो यही कर रहा है ना?
I mean, we should, especially if we get fora like this, I mean, that's what it should become at some point, and that's the only way we can progress.
Okay. The extent of the problem on solid waste, what are the statistics that you've got on that?
I'll just highlight the fundamental issue. The problem with waste management is that we think that it's someone else's job. We wake up to brush our teeth, but we don't wake up to segregate. So that's the fundamental issue. Another problem is that still 90% of the cities dump their garbage in landfill sites which don't meet any of the sanitary standards. So if we keep on reaching up to this level, if we keep on dumping, by 2047 we'll be somewhere between 250 to 60 million tons per year. And to dump that garbage, we would need close to 1,400 square kilometers of land, which would be the size of Mumbai plus Hyderabad plus Greater Noida added together.
Hang on. Would you want to just repeat all that again? 1 million tons of garbage a day.
Yes.
If we don't do something about it.
Yes.
And the landfills for that are going to be the size of Mumbai plus Hyderabad.
Yes. 3 cities, Mumbai, Hyderabad, Greater Noida added together.
And how soon is that going to happen?
This would happen in 2047. So the big question is, as cities are expanding, as landfills are becoming a part of our cities, so do we want landfill facing apartments, or do we want to start segregation at source at the earliest? So it's a ticking bomb.
A ticking bomb. Would you agree with those statistics?
Yeah,
and you're talking about 30 years from now.
Yes.
An area the size of Mumbai plus Noida plus Hyderabad
in fact,
is
the Deonar,
just required for landfills if we don't do something about it.
Even the dump which is here in your Deonar is already reached 65 meters, and now it's actually causing it can be a danger to the flight path of aircraft taking off, because there are birds which come there and which can actually cause an accident. So it is actually very, very critical.
Right. Paul, the extent of the problem, would you agree with them?
Sure, yeah, I'd say, I mean, we all know the health consequences of broadly waste management that leads to malnutrition, stunting, diarrheal deaths, hundreds of thousands of children. I'd say beyond that, there's unquantifiable challenges around dignity, around shame, aspirational values of children. And these kinds of things, I think if we understand these kinds of triggers, then in addition to these mass campaigns, we can work on smart behavioral design interventions. On how do you design, reframe the waste space? How do you reframe a garbage segregation, disposal areas? And start to get at, these small nudges and these small interventions that will make a difference.
अमित जी, जो समस्या है ये काफ़ी गंभीर है. जो आंकड़े अभी हम लोग सुन रहे थे वो एक तरह से डराने वाले आंकड़े हैं. पर उसके बारे में कुछ किया जा सकता है. आप अगर शायद लोगों हमने अभी भी देखा था यहाँ इसी विजयनगर सोसाइटी में लोग किस तरह से सेग्रीगेट कर रहे हैं. और अगर बस वो हम करें जो आपने ये जो कॉन्सेप्ट दिया है मेरे 10 गज का, अगर हर एक व्यक्ति सेग्रीगेट करने की बात करे, जो ड्राई वेस्ट है उसको अलग करें, वेट वेस्ट को अलग करें, उससे बहुत समस्या में बहुत परिवर्तन आ सकता है.
कई सालों से हम लोग इसकी चर्चा कर रहे हैं, बात भी करते रहते हैं. और जितने भी यहाँ पैनलिस्ट हैं, मैं क्षमा चाहूँगा, सब लोग हम लोग बात कर रहे हैं कि ये एक समस्या है, ये बढ़ती चली जा रही है और इसको कैसे हम लोग इसका निरीक्षण करेंगे, कैसे इसको अवॉइड करेंगे, कैसे इसका समाधान होगा. लेकिन कहीं ना कहीं हमें उसके बेस में भी जाने की आवश्यकता है. क्यों ऐसा हो रहा है? और मैं ऐसा मानता हूँ कि जब तक हम अनुशासित नहीं होंगे, डिसिप्लिन नहीं होंगे, ये चीज़ बढ़ती चली जाएगी. और हम और आप लोग यहाँ बैठ करके डिस्कस करते रहेंगे कि कितनी ये जो समस्या है ये बढ़ती चली जा रही है, और वी विल ट्राई टू फाइंड वेज एंड मीन्स ऑफ हाउ टू गेट रिड ऑफ इट. बट आई थिंक वी नीड टू फर्स्ट स्टार्ट एट द वेरी बेस एंड ब्रिंग इन डिसिप्लिन अमंगस्ट ऑल ऑफ अस, अमंगस्ट ऑल नेशनल्स, दैट बाय डूइंग समथिंग रॉन्ग यू आर क्रिएटिंग अ वेरी बिग रॉन्ग. That wrong is not going to get solved so easily. So let us discipline ourselves first. And this can start from elementary things, which side of the road you need to walk, whether you want to stop at the red light or not, where to cross on the proper zebra crossing. Very simple disciplinary actions which none of us, unfortunately, seem to follow. And we build this temperament that because it's a carefree kind of an attitude, we are carefree about the environment as well. So I think we need to inculcate some sense of discipline in us so that these problems don't arise. Yes, there are whole kinds of technologies now prevalent to take care of the problem. But what is being done to stop the creation of that problem?
And so when it comes to solid waste management, the first question that many people are going to have is, what do we do about it? This is the government's problem. They have to figure out the landfills. They have to, the MCD should do it. The Mumbai Corporation should do it. But actually, as we have seen out here, you can do something about it yourself. So maybe we can show you some of what is happening. We are at the Vijayanagar Society, and they are actually done it on their own. They have shown us all how it can be done. There are 2,000 people who are here in this particular society. They generate 4,500 kilograms of waste. Now, that would just be piling up and going into dumps. Actually, that entire garbage is being managed. It's also almost zero garbage, this particular society. Why? We saw it just a short while back. Maybe we can play you some of the pictures, and then we will continue to hear from people here. But while we are waiting for that, let me just ask Madhu also, who's here from the Pali Hills Resident Society. I believe you're also trying something similar.
Yes, sir, but in a little bit more elaborate manner. With the help of the BMC, our ward officer, the solid waste management people, and our MLA. What we are doing is now is the entire Pali Hill of 1.4 kilometers is segregating their garbage at the root level. That garbage we are not going to be disposing at the dump yards. We are going to be converting it into a biogas in Pali Hill itself and converting it into energy. That energy will be lighting 100 LEDs of street lights on Pali Hill. That is what we are going to be doing.
Yeah, that's really wonderful. I'm really impressed that somebody like you is taking part in this society, in this region where you live. And I hope that people can follow your example in other parts of other societies as well and other suburbs as well. That's what we need. We need inspirational people like you to come and talk about it and see how best it can be used, not just to dispose it off, but to reuse it for something more profitable, more gainful for the environment and for the society as well.
Right. Yes. And you know, it's so important to share the positive stories of what can actually be done, because sometimes, you know, people say news channels are only showing what's the terrible things that are happening and telling us about all the problems, but not actually showing any solutions. Yeah. Now, these are problems, yes, these are serious issues, yes, but there are solutions that can be found, and lots of individuals have found solutions to those. Those are the ones that we are highlighting. They are societies like yours and the one that we are in. There are schools. We are showing you some of that as well. There are solutions, and it's important to focus on that. Let's, for example, go across now to the Kolkata Shishi Academy, which is also doing great work in many of these areas. Saurabh Gupta joining us from there. Saurabh, what are the students there doing?
Well, Vikram, I must tell you that I was very, very impressed once I walked into this school, and some of the beautiful artwork on display is all made of recycled material, and this is plastic. Now, this is usually that would go into the dustbin and end up in a place like Deonar in Mumbai or the dump yard here in Dhapa. But that's not happening. It's being used, it's being innovatively used, creatively used to make something out of it, and I'll come right back to the students who are behind all of this. And I'll start with you first. So how are you doing all of this, and why are you doing all of this, and who told you to do all of this? Or was it your own idea?
Since the start of the school, one of the main principles of our school is to reduce our waste, recycle our waste, and reuse whatever is not completely destroyed. This is what fuels us to do all these things, and our principal ma'am is always encouraging us to save, because someday the world will be full of garbage if we go on in this path, like dumping wherever.
So you're aware and you're doing your bit, and that's what also this whole campaign is about, to point out what people are doing, like Vikram and Mr. Bachchan have been talking about. Segregation of waste, and there again, right in front of us, is what this school does with the waste. And I have the students also here who are, behind all of these initiatives, because if this just comes as a directive, it doesn't work. It has to have the students involved. It has to have the students take an active role in all of this. So segregation of waste, again, tell me, what are you doing with segregation of waste? How are you doing all of this? And this happens every day, and not a single piece of waste goes out of your school unsegregated.
Yes, so we have divided waste into 5 segments. One would be plastic waste, one would be food waste, one would be e-waste, paper waste and glass waste. So the food waste goes to the compost pit, that's right there, and the paper waste goes to a mill, and there it is again made into new paper, whatever kind of paper that's there. We cannot do much about plastic and glass waste, that is non-biodegradable. And the e-waste, that is the electronic waste, is properly disposed. It is a common mistake in the household of people that we do not dispose e-waste properly.
That is very, very important, and it's important to note that. And one of the more interesting things here, and that's something really important, is water and how we manage our water resources, and that's something also we've been talking about. And you're going to tell us about water management and what you do with recycling of water.
Recycling is the main motto in our school. So we have air-conditioned classrooms, and the outlets from each and every classroom, we just collect the waters, the outlet water, and we collect these through the pipes in such buckets, and it's getting collected, and then we use such waters to water the fields for the cleaning purpose, and also to water the plants. And 10 such buckets of water we save daily to water the plants and cleaning purposes.
So each is about, I guess, liters and liters of water. So
and 10 such buckets are saved.
10 such buckets. So interesting things being done at the school level, and it's amazing to see what kids can do if they are led on the right path. And this is, of course, one of the major aims of the campaign, like Mr. Bachchan was talking about, Mere 10 Gaz. And these students have ensured that their 10 yards or their 10 yards is absolutely clean, it's environment friendly, the waste is recycled, and we do not cause harm to the environment with the items we use for our daily needs.
I just want to ask, it's wonderful to hear these children, and as I've been saying, we've been hearing a lot of students from various parts of the country and schools talking about, so professionally about environment and waste management. Do they carry the same philosophy to their homes as well?
Do you carry this philosophy to your homes? You heard the question.
Yeah, we carry it to our homes, and I guess each and every student of the school who's a part of this school believes in this. It was taken up as an initiative in our school by each and every student, which is done in school as well as at home for each and every student here. We even have certain programs like Wormy Composting, where we have a pit that side, as I can show you over there. Okay. And what we do is this waste, food waste, which is brought by students to school, we segregate the waste into dry waste, vegetable peels, and we remove any sort of non-vegetarian waste or oils and citric fruits. And then it is placed in those tanks where we compost and make manure out of it, which is used in the vegetable garden that we have in our school.
So, well, I mean, to be honest, we did none of this in our school, so I must presume that, yes, people are doing a lot more than they would earlier in the schools.
All right, Saurabh, thanks a lot for joining us, and it's really fascinating and fantastic to see some of the work being done, and that's really what we are showing you. A lot of people are starting to take the initiative into their own hands. It's not just the government doing it. Lots of individuals, schools, societies, RWAs, individuals are coming out and making a difference. And if they can do it, you can make a difference too. Just wanted to get any final thoughts you have on how other societies could do what you're doing.
Sir, it is very simple. खुद करो, अपने आप के लिए करो, बाकी सब छोड़ दीजिए. अपने लिए जब करेंगे एक-एक इंडिविजुअल, तो अपने आप वो कॉम्बिनेशन होके एक मुट्ठी बन जाएगी और हो जाएगा.
अमित जी, ये आप ही की बात है, मेरे 10
जी बिल्कुल बिल्कुल सही कहा आपने. अपने लिए करो, और सभी लोग अगर अपने लिए करना शुरू करेंगे तो पूरा समाज जो है वही परिवर्तित हो जाएगा।
बिल्कुल सर।
All right. I'm about to wrap up. Any final thoughts from everyone? I
think we really need to begin at the household level. Begin small, but begin for sure. Segregate, make compost out of wet waste. The recyclables will go for recycling.
Okay.
I have two thoughts. One is I think children seem to be the most inspiring leaders.
Absolutely.
Right? I think if we can get children, even that little girl who was showing us the bin, the more children we get into this movement, I think the better the chances of success. How do we really get, this message down to every school in the country is probably the biggest thing. Maybe under Mere 10 Gaz. If every school can, take on the Mere 10 Gaz mantle and prove that basically their own space is clean, I think the movement is done.
Okay.
I wanted to highlight that there are cities doing commendable work. There's Alleppey, which is a zero landfill city. There's Mysuru, where 90% of the households segregate waste. So let's aim at segregation and make waste management like brushing our teeth. You have to do it yourself every day.
Right. Just one technical question I wanted to ask you. Do you need to do 5 different segregations as the school in Kolkata was doing, or are 2 enough?
I think it's also about resource efficiency. The more you segregate, it's not waste anymore. It can be given to recyclers. If you're doing a 2-point segregation, it's fine, but somebody has to do more work. There's Panaji that is segregating waste into 30 different resources. There's Mysuru, which is segregating waste into 28 different components. So the more you segregate, the more value you make out of it.
But it also means, if you make it too complicated, people are less likely to do it. I guess that's the issue.
Yes, that's there.
We are telling households is that at the household level, you do it in 2 ways. And your municipality will do it in more different ways for the dry waste.
Okay. Your final thoughts?
I would just say citizens, you guys should just continue to engage with your governments, keep them accountable, learn about the issues, organize committees, and keep doing what you're doing.
All right. I think if you begin a movement of doing everything for our own self in our own society, I think the government will take care of the rest. I think every time we should not depend on government to do everything, because we are a large country, we don't have so much of resources. So I think that's probably the biggest learning from today's program.
And as she said, if individuals will at least just segregate dry and the wet waste, separate biodegradable from the rest, then the municipalities can then separate the dry waste further.
Exactly. And we all take care of our own health, and we don't realize by doing this we are again injuring ourselves. I mean, just think of that.
Okay, let me get your final thoughts.
I agree with Mr. Bachchan's point that starts with education, starts with an attitude change, and then it translates into the action which is needed, because the technologies are there, everything is there, the support systems can be there, but it needs to be brought about by change in the individual attitude towards garbage and the general environment.
Okay. Let's just quickly touch on one last residential complex. This is in Gurugram Garden Estate, a very well-known housing complex out there, which has again shown how cleanliness can be achieved in a cost-effective manner with a well-designed system for house-to-house collection of solid waste. So Snigdha is out there. Snigdha, बताइए वहाँ क्या हो रहा है? Garden Estate में क्या-क्या काम किया जाता है?
Right, Vikram, all thanks to our colleague Gargi Rawat, who's a resident in this complex, who told us about this initiative. So basically, this residential complex of 373 flats sprawled over 22 acres, they have taken up this initiative for the last 1 year, where they all segregate and they also do a water treatment system. So let us speak to the resident who actually started this initiative, Mr. Keshav. Mr. Keshav, how did this initiative come about, and what is your model that is different from the other models that we have seen so far?
Okay. I was doing my segregation and composting for a long time, but some of the residents asked me, but why are you not doing it for the whole community? So I talked to my president. He says, just go ahead. It has to be done. And we started about 1 year and 3 months ago. The big difference in our composting system against the others is that we've done this for 2,000 residents, 240 kilos every day composted at a cost of just 50,000 rupees. The composting system has just cost us 50,000 rupees. We have copied exactly what nature does. We've not done anything different.
So take us through this segregator. What does it do?
Okay, one of the issues we were facing that the leaves were very big, so they were not composting easily. So we bought a small shredder for only the dry leaves. The big leaves, as you can see on top, get shredded and come down. Initially we put this blue pipe on it, and we put a little tub on it so that we can work it better. So it's a little bit of a jugadu we've done, but it works beautifully.
And what about the different segregation buckets that you gave to all the residents?
Right. We follow exactly the system followed in Bangalore, which has also been told by the NGT guidelines, which is you have to have 2 bins, 1 bag. Minimum 3-way segregation has to be done. Green is always for your kitchen waste. And the red is for all your rejects like diapers, street sweepings and all. The white bag is for recyclable. But here the important thing is recyclables can only be recycled if they are clean and they're not smelly. The minute they're smelly, dirty, they'll go into the red.
So you're telling me the general conception is if I am throwing a plastic, that is a recyclable bottle, but you're saying if it is not clean, my waste picker is not going to put it in the recycling bin.
Yes, absolutely. The waste picker is like us. He is not going to do extra work if it doesn't suit him. If he's not going to get money from something, he's also not going to do it. And it's only fair that we segregate everything and give it to him so that he can get more value out of it.
Definitely. So this was the initiative, but basically the main crusader have been these young students who've gone from house to house and educated and created awareness about the entire mission. Anusha here joins us. Anusha, how did this, how did you do it?
Some of us went to house to get the segregation done. So this is how the segregation has been done. The green one is for the kitchen waste, the red one is for the bathroom waste, and the bag is for recycling waste. We do this to keep our earth clean, and we have been doing this for around 2 years.
So you started with your building, you said. So what did your neighbors, did they have some questions that you answered, and how did it go?
Yes, they did have questions to ask, and they had questions like, can we still use the bags if they like are filled? Can we still use them?
Okay.
But
and you feel now you have made a difference there. The entire residential complex is doing it.
Yes, I do.
Okay, so an excited student, a crusader who's made difference. And here we have the Mali and the person who does take care of the entire composting. आप बताइए आपको इससे कितना benefit हुआ है पूरे garden area के लिए?
इससे मैं काफ़ी ज़्यादा पहले हम क्या करते हैं कि garden डिस्ट्रिक्ट जो भी horticulture में जो भी होता था काफ़ी ज़्यादा होता था तो हम बाहर जाकर फेंकते थे. उसके बाद हमने यहाँ अलग अलग करके पार्टीशन बनाया कि ये कूड़ा यहाँ डालेंगे यहाँ डालेंगे. उसके बाद अलग करके हम काफ़ी हम जो प्रॉब्लम है हमने सॉल्व कर लिया है. जो 100 किलो में तकरीबन हम 15 से 20 किलो बाहर बेचते हैं. बाद बाकी सारा हम कंपोस्टिंग में यूज कर लेते हैं.
और पहले कंपोस्ट खरीदते थे?
पहले हम खरीदते थे बाहर से. अब हम खुद बनाते हैं. टोटल गार्डन स्टेट में हम खुद ही अपना ही कंपोस्ट करते हैं यूज.
अच्छा. एंड और कोई चैलेंजेस, कोई प्रॉब्लम होती है जो सोचते हैं अब उसको फिक्स करना चाहिए?
नहीं, ऐसी कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. जो भी सेटअप है हमारा बढ़िया चल रहा है. लोग भी इसमें हमारे साथ सपोर्ट कर रहे हैं, काम भी कर रहे हैं. जो भी हमारे पूरे स्टाफ है मिलके. और सबसे बड़ी प्रॉब्लम जो हम बाहर कचरा फेंकते थे, हम पहले ज्यादा 100 केजी में 15 केजी बाहर ही जाते. बाद बाकी सारा कुछ हम यही कर लेते हैं यूज. सॉर्ट आउट यही कर लेते हैं अलग अलग करके.
Okay. So there you can see it. I mean, they used to before buy compost, but now they use the compost that they make. They make about 14 or 12 tons in 14 months. And they use that compost, and whatever remains, they actually share it with neighboring parks, neighboring RWAs. I have the precedent also. It's often thought that waste management is difficult, it's challenging, and it perhaps can be costly too. But here's a happy precedent. Tell us why you are happy.
Well, it was a totally in-house initiative, and it's like do-it-yourself. There was initial experimentation, but it worked extremely well. And we did try and obtain quotations for a plant for manufacturers. That was around 9 lakhs. What our team did here was a perfectly workable system for 50,000 rupees. Now, how happy can you be?
And you also share the compost, and you have a river and a water treatment facility too.
We have a sewage treatment plant where we generate almost 75,000 liters of water a day. So if you go around Garden State, it's all lush and green because we have plenty of water. And the surplus water we give to Biodiversity Park once a week. That's a part of our social responsibility. So also the extra compost that we generate. So I think everybody's a winner all round.
So Vikram, there you have it. They don't only just use it, but temperatures hovering around 45 degrees in Delhi and Gurugram. People want to water their gardens. They water their gardens and they share water and compost with biodiversity parks. They have RWAs from the neighboring area coming to learn and to model the system. So, this residential complex really tells us that everyone can play a part, and perhaps such small models can be modeled and turned into an entire city initiative.
Right. Well, thanks a lot for that. So, as we wrap up now, I think the obvious thing to learn from all of this is the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan is one of the most successful campaigns that this government is running, certainly in terms of public perception. It seems to have caught the imagination of people and is making a big change. A lot of the focus so far has been on solving open defecation, the building of toilets, and when that used to be the issue that many people were talking about, many individuals would say, what can we do about it? How do we make a difference? Now, this cleaning up waste, helping the authorities in the municipalities, doing something about solid waste management is something that every individual one of us can help in. Our resident welfare associations can do it, schools can do it, individuals can do it, and then of course it is the responsibility of the government to take it forward. And of course the voice for the entire Banega Swachh India campaign, the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, is Mr. Amitabh Bachchan, and I have to say, you're lending your voice to this, you're lending your face to this campaign has really gone a very long way in making it as popular as it is. Would everyone agree with that here?
Yeah, thank you.
So who better to say a final word and also, sir, to encourage people on solid waste management than you? So I'm going to leave the final word to you.
Well, I'm just truly grateful that all of us have taken part in this program. And every season that we come here, we find a lot of initiatives done by people that are unknown, and it's wonderful to hear these lovely children talking so much about environment. उन सबको मेरी तरफ से बहुत-बहुत बधाई, और ये एक तरह से हमारे लिए एक प्रेरणा स्रोत बनता है. तो आज मैं चाहूँगा कि आज से और बल्कि अभी से हम सब ये प्रण लें कि अब केवल हम वादे नहीं बल्कि कर्म भी करेंगे और करते रहेंगे, ताकि आने वाले जो 2 अक्टूबर को हम गर्व से मनाएं राष्ट्रीय स्वच्छता दिवस. और इसके साथ जुड़ने के लिए मेरे जो 10 गज का अभियान है, इसके साथ मिलकर रखेंगे स्वच्छ भारत की नींव. और हमें बताइए, अपने जो विचार हैं उनसे बताइए कि आपने अपने 10 गज के लिए क्या किया. हमें आप लिखिए, ट्वीट कीजिए #मेरे 10 गज MERA10GUZ या लॉग ऑन करें ndtv.com/swachhindia और अपने 10 गज की कहानियाँ साझा करें. आने वाले राष्ट्रीय स्वच्छता दिवस पर हम दिखाएंगे आपके 10 गज की कहानी. इसलिए हमारे साथ आप जुटे रहिए, क्योंकि हम साथ आएंगे तभी बनेगा स्वच्छ इंडिया. बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद विक्रम आपका, and to all of you here for being with us today. Thank you. And to this wonderful society.